such a good day today. I went to the Roger Williams Park Zoo in Providence, Rhode Island with my besties, Alec and Kristen. They had like a special dino exhibit that goes from like April to August 10th. It definitely was like less educational than I hoped for, but the dinosaurs were like animatronic and they made sounds. The best for last.
Oh my god, bro. That shit's crazy. Do it again.
He looks high as hell.
Let me turn it off.
It was like I was highly entertained, even if it wasn't like, you know, going to a museum, you know. And then we just like walked around the zoo. It was a super nice day. We got ice cream after. Currently, I'm making a giant sandwich for a picnic tomorrow with some friends. I was kind of inspired by like Italian pressed sandwiches or like French picnic sandwiches that I've been seeing, but I'm just like making it more to like my flavors that I like, and also without any meat. Yeah, I'm making a like loaf of focaccia, or I guess it's kind of more like a tray of focaccia, and then I'm gonna like fill it up, wrap it up really tightly, and then like put it in the fridge overnight, and then tomorrow I'll just cut it up. In addition, I'm listening to the audiobook for Under the Jolly Roger, which is the third book in the Bloody Jack series, and I've been like ripping through these audiobooks. I finished the second one and then immediately went into the third one, and the audiobooks are just so enjoyable. I find them so entertaining. In the third one, she somehow gets pressed back into the Royal Navy and is on this like terribly captained, like the captain is just like a cruel, evil guy, and the crew is like really close to mutiny, like they're just over it, like the vibes are so toxic on this ship. Yeah, she's just kind of like making the best of her situation, you know, shit happens and she ends up becoming like the acting captain of this ship. And eventually the rest of the Royal Navy finds out and they're not happy with this. Like the Royal Navy is not supportive of women acting in the Navy at all, let alone like 15-year-old girls. So they come to arrest her, and the Royal Navy wanted to hang her ass by the neck until death, and she's like, no, I'm not gonna go along with that. I'm gonna abandon the Navy, which she has served so faithfully, and become a fucking pirate. And oh my god, it is such a good series. I'm having so much fun with it.
Cut so nicely.
Unbelievably big sandwich. Her name's Zoe.
Hold up your bag again.
Oh. Without your bag.
Really? It looks so nice.
Perfect. I had a great picnic yesterday. I had a great weekend. I wanted to talk about a book that I started this weekend. This is Hot Girls with Vols by Benedict Nguyen. A really fun title and also a really fun cover design. But yeah, what is this book about? This book is about these two trans lesbian athletes named Six and Green. They play professional volleyball and they play in the men's league, and they are in a relationship with each other that's like very online. Like they produce content as a couple. So far, this book has been kind of exploring how Six and Green feel about their online presence, especially as it is like really connected to their success as athletes, which I think is really interesting. Part of the appeal with women's sports, like the WNBA, is the fact that a lot of the players are dating each other and kind of like have an online presence and following. Yeah, that's kind of what Six and Green are experiencing as well, even though they play in a men's league. It definitely gets really complicated when you mix together like romantic relationships with like how you're earning your income and how you're like developing yourself professionally. One of the characters, Green, she is kind of thinking about often, what if they did break up? Like, what would that look like for her? She has less followers individually than her partner. So, like, would she still get sponsorships? Would she lose income or even potentially her spot on the team if they broke up? And yeah, that's just like kind of a weird dynamic to bring into a relationship, I think. But it's really interesting to read about like what the characters are thinking about these topics. She closed the app. She'd already liked and commented on the posts of the girls she hoped to be friends with. She'd return in half an hour to like her own comments and reshares, parsing the select reply or reshare of a reshare. She knew all the dizzying self-referentiality looked desperate, but as far as Green could see on her feed, everyone was very desperate. Any whiner either became hypocritical through performative self-righteousness or simply had nothing of their own to contribute. The only antidote was to redirect attention back to herself, so her public image was so complete it could never be contaminated. Green and Six had jobs that all but required them to hire teams who encouraged them to not be ashamed about it, who told them how to strategize, who made their strategies seem like the only way forward in such difficult, uncertain, unprecedented times. Green was a setter, a game maker. She made split-second decisions with relentless precision, but she couldn't orchestrate her own fame by methodically accumulating points. To win, Green would keep throwing variations of her image at the feed till it reached the right eyes. Yeah, and I think there's kind of this contrast of how pointless social media can feel, contrasted with like how important it can be for people to like receive opportunities and like make their livelihood. It is a very like satirical novel, so there's a lot of humor. It doesn't take itself too seriously, even though there's some interesting commentary on like internet culture, social media, as well as what it's like to be a trans public figure. The characters definitely spend a lot of time looking through their comments. Benedict Nguyen kind of writes the comments in like a stream of consciousness, like almost as if you're reading the feed, and it's a mix of a lot of different sentiments. Yeah, there's a mix of people just being straight up transphobic to like people supporting them. This is one of the only novels I've read that like references the pandemic in a more real way. The characters actually mention that contracting COVID, the virus, has like had an impact on their ability to play in some ways. So I'm kind of interested to see what Nguyen does with that, the like pandemic aspect. Today's National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, and I'm going to a talk at WBUR, which is like Boston's public radio, that has like 3 chefs from the area, and they're going to be talking about chocolate chip cookies.
Like one match will get you how many? I got you.
Cookies are one of my favorite desserts to eat and also to bake. They're really shareable. There's so many flavors and combinations, textures to explore within just the cookie world. And also you can like adjust recipes in a billion ways to get a different outcome. The talk was super interesting. It was just really cool to hear from 3 different bakers, like their process and their opinions on chocolate chip cookies. They were doing like a rapid fire round, and one of the questions was, do you enjoy a chocolate chip cookie more when it's hot, fresh out of the oven, or cold, like the next day? And all 3 bakers said cold. And yeah, I would have to agree with that. I think that chocolate chip cookies are always better the day after you bake them, because the flavors just have time to like cool down, and it just becomes like really complex compared to like when you eat it straight out of the oven. You're mostly just getting like melted chocolate as like the experience, which is great too. I've been thinking about cooking and baking as an art form, which I definitely think it is, but I don't know, like I don't really think of myself personally as like an artist. I wouldn't even describe myself as a chef because I have no formal training or professional experience, but also I think like that idea of needing those things is like ableist, misogynistic, classist, because like think about how many mothers or like grandmothers are really skilled in the kitchen but haven't had any like professional training. I would describe like my mom as a chef. She's a very skilled chef specializing in South Indian like Andhra style cooking. But I don't know, like whenever people refer to me as a chef, it just doesn't really feel like the right label for me. And I think maybe I'm thinking too deeply about this because it's not that serious, but it's just interesting to think about. Yeah, the other thing I think about with cooking and baking is like how fleeting the final product is. Like all of the chefs at the talk last night talked a lot about like their process for developing their chocolate chip cookie recipe and how much thought goes into it, and how much intention goes into it, only for it to be enjoyed for maybe like a few minutes by a customer. But that's still really significant. Like, yeah, just think about like how many times you have centered a special occasion or like a momentous life event around a meal. You might only be enjoying that meal for a short period of time, but like the memory of it really sticks with you. And oh gosh, your like relationship to that piece of art, like that meal, is largely from like what you recall of it. It's not like you can go back and experience that exact meal the same way ever again. I really like the subreddit r/cookbook lovers, and anytime someone's on there like sharing a cookbook that seems interesting to me, or I see a lot of people recommending the same cookbooks, I'll just like put it on hold at the library and try it out. And this one's been a winner for me so far. This is Snacking Cakes by Yassi Aref. A snacking cake is basically a cake that you could leave out on your counter and just like, you know, grab a little slice from throughout the day. It's not so sweet that you couldn't eat it for breakfast if you wanted to, but it's still like decadent enough to be a treat that you could have like in the afternoon with a cup of tea or after dinner. And they're also like very light lifts with high rewards because many of the recipes come together in like one bowl, and they're also all one layer cakes, and they don't have a lot of like separate components you have to put together like a traditionally decorated layer cake would have. So they're just like easy to whip up. So far I've tried the pineapple upside down cake. That was so delicious, and I was so impressed by how beautiful it looked for like the amount of effort that it took. So I want to try another recipe from here, and she has this recipe for buckwheat banana cake. And yeah, each recipe also comes with like different flavor variations you can do, or like things you can add on as like a glaze or mix-ins, as well as instructions if you want to change the like shape of pan you're using. Like all of these could easily be made in a loaf pan or like a round pan, square pan. She gives you all of the instructions, so you can like, these recipes are really flexible. If a bunch of these recipes go well, then I might consider like looking for a copy of this to add to my own cookbook collection. They're expensive and they take up a lot of room, so I'm picky about which ones I add to my permanent collection. The banana bread? Hello. I'm actually going to Portland, Oregon today to see my sister. My flight is not until the evening and it's only like 9:30 a.m. so I still have a work day and like packing and stuff. But yeah. My sister just went to a meeting and then we're gonna go out to eat, so I'm just like waiting in her apartment for her to come back and get me. I haven't done a ton of reading here. I've mostly just been chilling with my sister. We've been trying out some cafes that have been on her list. We went to the Portland Art Museum to see, they just like restored the famous painting by Claude Monet, the water lilies, which was really cool. We always have a good time, a great time. I did listen to quite a bit of In the Belly of the Bloodhound on my flight over here because it was a really long flight. And it's actually pretty fun to just like zone out and listen to an audiobook as like a distraction when you are dealing with the hellscape that is air travel. This installment in the series is kind of weird. Jackie is like very kind of like preachy about how she feels about slavery. I just feel like there would be more ways for the author to like have these conversations where at least like a Black character could get introduced. So weird choice, I think, on L.A. Meyer's part for this installment. Hot Girls with Balls. I have mixed feelings so far. I'm like a little over 100 pages in. The characters are so shallow and it's hard to be invested in them so far. Okay, so I'm gonna just continue waiting for my sister. She'll be back soon and then we're gonna go get some tacos. So see ya.